YouTube peeps, it's Thebethyblueeyes and I'm relaxing today in my bed. Welcome to my boudoir. Obviously this is what lots of thrifty vintage hotties lounge about in my onesie jams, and I have my little blanket to keep my feet warm and my little teeny flying manta ray. I have Dumbo here, I have E.T. and this is little Blue Ted. And I thought today I would do a video on my favourite movies, and these are my favourite movies. And I thought it would be a bit of a different video and I could tell you what kind of movies I like, and maybe it'll give you inspiration to watch these movies, or if you haven't seen them in a long time, to watch them again. So I thought I'd go through a few of my movie choices. And my first and favourite, oh, I love it so much, get comfortable, is one of my favourite is Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I am a bit of a tomboy when it comes to my musical, not my musical choices. I'm such a girl when it comes to musical choices. With my DVD and movie choices, I'm very tomboyish. This is one of my favourite films, well, the trilogy ever, and it's the original trilogy, may I add, not any of this new crap that they've rehashed. New Hope, Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, Return of the Jedi being my absolute favourite. I love Star Wars. I remember being about 6 or 7 and my dad watching it with me and just thinking, wow, is this real life? I really thought, oh my god, this must be real. I love Star Wars, I love the story, I just think it's a sci-fi classic. I've had it on video, that's how old I am, but this is actually the DVD set. And I just love this. This is a great feel-good movie. I could watch it 1,000 times. I probably have watched it 1,000 times actually. And my dad likes it, so it's like a father and son like DVD we can watch together. So I love that one. Everyone knows what the story is. I don't need to tell you, but even if you're not a fan of sci-fi, there's love in there, there's hate, there's family rows. It's like Jeremy Kyle, but better. But yeah, love that film. That's one of my favourites. And another, I'm just going to go through them in the pile that I've got, is Toys. And this has got Robin Williams in, and I cannot remember what, it says 1992, but I think it was probably out earlier than that maybe. And this film is about a toy factory, a family toy factory that goes bust. The father dies, and Robin Williams and his sister in it, who I can never remember who it is. It doesn't say on here. It will do say on here, but I can't remember. But again, his sister and him have to take on the toy company and make it new, and times are changing, and the toy factory gets overrun with war toys, and it's just a great story. Again, this is another one that me and my husband both love, and I just love Robin Williams. I wish he was my granddad or dad or something. He's fantastic. I also love Mrs. Doubtfire, but I haven't got that on DVD. But this film is a great feel-good film. It's about life, it's about business, it's about death, it's about coping with change. It's just a great film, and even though it's a kids film, I think there's some dark elements to it. And his sister in the movie, she dresses like a paper doll, and it gave me inspiration when I was about 15, I think, when I first saw this, to be different with my clothes. And again, an all-round good feel-good movie for the whole family, and it's a PG, so it's suitable for anyone. It says, well, general viewing, but yeah, there's no sex or anything weird in it. You know, it's just a good family film. If you've got children, this would be a good one to watch with your kids, because there's toys in it and it's just wonderful. So that is another film that I like. And oh, I'm going to go for a box set. This is the only box set, TV box set I've got in, and it is Queer as Folk, the Definitive Collector's Edition. If you live in America, this will be a different thing. Queer as Folk was actually on Channel 4, and it was a series in the, oh god, it must have been the 90s or early 2000s, of a young gay guy. It's Charlie Hunnam actually, who's in the Bikers one, Sons of Anarchy, when he was young. So if you like him, you'll like this. It's about this young teenage gay guy who goes out one night, I think he's just kind of coming out of the closet, meets a man, as you can imagine, all these rude homosexual things go on, and he basically finds himself. So he realises he's gay, he finds himself a boyfriend, there's lots of drama. It's a fantastic, Channel 4 really pushed the boat out when this came out. It's quite shocking, some of the scenes. There's love, there's death, there's sex, there's kind of stereotypes and cliches of the gay community kind of in there, and there's I can imagine what it'd be like to be a young gay lad in the city finding yourself. It's got fun in there, it's got everything in there, and I think if you want narrow-minded, you would like this DVD. There is a lot of sex and cliched kind of nudity in it, but there's also lots of other things that you might enjoy, and this is a whole box set. It's like a DVD 4-disc set. Again, it doesn't say how many hours, but there's lots in there. But yeah, fantastic series. I remember when it came out, it was quite shocking at the time to be on television because of the kind of sexual content of it, but really good. And I just found it quite eye-opening as a teenager myself, watching this, thinking, wow, that's what happens in gay clubs, or oh god, that could happen to somebody I know, you know. But it's a great series. Queer as Folk, I know in America, has got its own series, but this is the original series. Again, but fantastic eye-opening drama series. Really enjoyed that. Not necessarily a movie. And on a lighter note, I have Edward Scissorhands. This film is fantastic. I love kind of 50s style, kind of 60s style, and I love films with that style as well. But I remember watching Edward Scissorhands as a teenager and just falling in love with him. I don't even fancy Johnny Depp, girls. Sorry, shock horror, I know. But I don't fancy Johnny Depp, but I fell in love with Edward Scissorhands. His shy nature, his quirkiness, and it's probably one of the only Tim Burton films I really appreciate. But I just love Edward Scissorhands. I actually want to dress as him for Halloween maybe one year. And if you don't know it, it's a story of a young, deformed young boy who's left to his own devices in a big castle, and he meets the people of the 1950s, 60s, and ends up cutting their hair and their hedges, and it's just a wonderful feel-good movie. Again, it's got Winona Ryder in there, it's got lots of people in there, Vincent Price, loads of people in there who are famous, and it's just, again, another film. Reminds me of Christmas because of when he's snipping all the ice and all the snow comes down. You have to watch it. It's a fantastic film, and it's one of those films that I really, as a teenager, I used to love watching as well. But yeah, great feel-good movie. It was not suitable for you. It says it's PG, but it says on the back contains mild sex references and violence, so maybe it's not for children, but maybe anyone over kind of 12 to 15. But a really good movie. If you haven't seen it, I think everybody's seen Edward Scissorhands, but just rent it out or find it at your local thrift shop. A lot of my DVDs as well I get from the charity shops. It's the best place to get DVDs. Just check that they're not scratched. But I think I got this for about £3. You know, you can get them on Amazon for a similar price, but I mean, if you're in the thrift shops, always check out the DVD section because they're so cheap, and often you can find the special editions and the limited editions. So that's another film I really love. Another one is a series, but I can't find the other DVDs. I think I might have lent them out to somebody. It is Aliens, the trilogy, and again, all the original Aliens, Alien, you know, 1, 2 and 3 are my favourite films. I remember watching these as a teenager, again with my dad, and being absolutely terrified. And I'm not ashamed to admit it. I was to be about I would have been 16 or 17, terrified, literally terrorised. I remember watching this, and it was a night before I had to go to the dentist, and my dad was trying to kind of keep me calm by letting me watch DVDs or whatever. And he sat with me and watched, it was Aliens 2 actually. And I have never been so frightened in my entire life. I literally laid awake all night thinking, oh my god. But again, a classic set of a trilogy that never ages. I can watch Aliens and it never ages. And I think it's scarier than a lot of modern films that come out now, and it's all slashing. These days it's all slashing and murder and CGI, where this, it's just all dark shadows, fear, and that little handheld little thing that they carry around that goes beep, beep, beep. Oh god, just the fear. Like, love it. Again, Sigourney Weaver, everyone knows about the Alien story. If you are younger and you don't know the Alien story, Google it, it's amazing. This one also, when I was a teenager, and I still do it now, I obviously don't wear my onesie to bed, I wear some pyjamas, but I usually wear a pair of pants and I buy white vests from Primark, and just plain white thick strap vests. And I have done since I was a teenager, and it's probably because Ripley in Aliens, she kind of goes into a hyperbolic chamber, and she's The next video that I'm going to show you is, again, another teen classic for me. It is Weird Science. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Weird Science. It's a story, I'm such a tomboy. It's a story about teenage boys who want a girlfriend, they're geeks, they're at home, they plug in their computer, it's a real 80s movie. They plug their computer in and they like scan all these pictures of sexy women in, and this woman, they print this picture out and this woman comes alive. It's the most ridiculous, unrealistic movie ever. But she comes alive and she promises to be their girlfriend, and it's just a typical 80s kind of classic. 1985, so I was born in 1983, so this is quite an old movie. Again, but another film that I just remember from my teen years watching, and being quite a tomboy at the time, I just loved the idea, you know. It's just ridiculous, the movie. But again, if you like kind of Back to the Future, Mallrats, any of those kind of films, you probably like this one as well. But yeah, it's about growing up, being a teenager, and yeah, having hormonal feelings for the opposite sex, which we all understand, don't we? And another one from my teenage years, again, which is one of my absolute favourite films, is Empire Records. This one is, again, one of the films that totally reminds me of my teenage years growing up in the 90s. It's about a record store, again, and all these guys. There's Liv Taylor in it, Renee Zellweger before she looked like a lollipop stick, and just a few actresses and actors. Again, in the 90s, a record store, they open the record store, the record store's about to go bust, and the trials and tribulations of working in a record store, people fancying each other at work, people shaving their heads, teenagers, bosses getting angry, just general kind of teenage life working in a record store. And I remember somebody I know saying that this made them want to work in a record store when they were a teenager and they got a job in a record store. So yeah, it's a cool film, it's got a cool soundtrack. Even if you don't like the movie so much, you might like the soundtrack. It's got loads of cool kind of 90s bands in it. It says on here, the Gin Blossoms, the Cranberries, Toad Wet Sprocket, Cracker, Better Than Ezra, lots of cool kind of 90s kind of band musical things. And yeah, I used to fancy the arty guy in it when I was a teenager and think, oh, one day I'll have a boyfriend like him. He's really arty and cool. It's ridiculous, isn't it? But yeah, a really, really good feel-good movie. It's a 12, so there's, I think, moderate, strong language and a little bit of violence. And again, but just a really cool movie. My friend Carla, she used to come around to my house and we used to watch this movie every Saturday. And I think we watched it the day Diana died. I think we might have watched this movie. But yeah, a really good feel-good movie about growing up and being a teenager and working in Empire Records. So if you get a chance, hire that one out. It's a cool one. Another one which reminds me of my teenage years is Stand By Me. This is my favourite film ever. Ever, ever, ever. No matter what films I watch, this film always comes back to my heart. I absolutely love, that's a fact about me, I absolutely love River Phoenix, and I know he's dead and it's very sad, but I was a teenager, I was obsessed with him. I remember having posters of him, I remember being absolutely in love with him, and then my cousin, I think it was my cousin, told me he died of a drug overdose. I didn't even realise. I was devastated. I was absolutely devastated. But this film reminds me of being a young girl and kind of the trials and tribulations of growing up, adolescence, before you're a teenager, when you're at that funny awkward stage between 12 and 15, when you're not really a teenager and your body is growing and your thoughts and your mind is growing, and you're just at that weird stage and you're finding yourself and you're learning who your friends are and you're learning about life. This film is fantastic. It's actually an adaptation, Stand By Me, of a book. God, who is it by? Stephen King. How could I forget? It's an adaptation of a short story by Stephen King called The Body. Again, I haven't read it actually, but I'm dyslexic, so I kind of avoid books. I'm very scared of books. But this film is about these four guys growing up in the 40s and no, it's the 50s, and again their friendships. There's River Phoenix, who plays kind of like the tough guy. There's Will Wheaton, who plays kind of like his best friend, who's kind of really clever, but he doesn't want to lose face with his friends by being intelligent. And then there's Corey Feldman and Jerry O'Connell, who is a little fat kid in this, but now he's grown up to be a handsome young man. And it's just the friendships they have together. They go on a little road trip, they kind of walk along the train tracks, and they go and drink Diet Cokes and, you know, talk about girls and talk about life and talk about growing up. And they go on this walk because they want to find, they found out in the, I think it was on the radio or in the newspapers in the 50s, that one of the guys that they went to school with had died or had gone missing, and they go on a trek to try and find him. It's a great story. Again, it's a real tomboy story as well, but I just find it really, really great. Again, it's a good, it makes me feel good when I watch it. It's got young Keith Sutherland in as well, playing the hard guy. But a great movie, again, a great cast, and probably, I think this was probably the first DVD, and this is the original, the first DVD I ever bought. And I bought it from my local market for like $4.99, which was a lot when I was a teenager. And I remember just watching it and being mesmerised by it. I know all the words. Again, my friend Carla, when we were teenagers, she used to come around to my house and we used to watch it. And she used to encourage me to draw pictures of River Phoenix and like draw love hearts and draw love hearts on my books and I love River Phoenix forever sealed with a loving kiss. And so this, I mean, this is a great movie. And again, if you like stories by Stephen King, you'll really, really love this movie. I definitely suggest people to go out and buy it. The next one, again, reminds me of my young years. It is The Labyrinth. And if you guys don't know what The Labyrinth is, it's got David Bowie in and, oh, what's her name? Jennifer Connelly when she was a young girl. She looks a bit like Katy Perry. This film is my childhood. I remember having this on video and me and my sister watched it so many times that the video actually broke. It like wore away because we rewound it and fast forwarded it and rewound it so many times. It's a great story about, I don't even know how to explain it. It's the coolest film as a kid ever, and this again could have been real life as a kid. It's just a 1980s classic movie about horror, about mazes, about goblin kings, about babies and all this weird stuff. Again, and if you like The Land Before Time and all those kind of movies, it's just an old school movie and I just love it. And I remember wanting to dance with David Bowie as a kid because he was the Goblin King. I wanted to be the Goblin Queen. But yeah, a great feel-good movie. Again, it's full of twists and turns, and it's before CGI, so it was when people wore costumes and there's a lot of elaborate makeup on a lot of the characters. It's just a great movie, so I would suggest you go and see that. I have a few more grown-up movies now. They're all from my childhood. Another River Phoenix film is My Own Private Idaho. This is a I'll never say it, I don't know if it's right, Gus Van Sant? I think that's his name. He is an iconic film director. Again, My Own Private Idaho has Keanu Reeves and River Phoenix in. It's a tale of two hookers from Idaho who go on a road trip. Again, they're trying to make money, they're trying to find somebody. Again, it's a bit of a love story as well. It's a bit seedy in places and a bit scary, and it's about people living on the streets, about drugs, about homosexuality, about prostitution, about unrequited love. It's quite an edgy film, and I remember seeing this, must have been about 17 or 18, and obviously being in love with River Phoenix, watching this, and him and Keanu Reeves kind of snuggling each other in a bed. I was like, oh my god, hormone levels, red face, oh my god. But yeah, it's a really good film, and it's quite edgy, quite uncomfortable in some places to watch, and it kind of has the dark side to the kind of glamorized prostitution in America. And this is from the 90s as well. I can't remember what year it came out, but it's a great movie. It's only 15, but I think some of the scenes in this are quite graphic, so if you were going to watch it with younger audiences, I would be just have a quick watch of it before you do. But yeah, great. Keanu Reeves and River Phoenix play a great kind of duo in there, and there's Flea from Red Hot Chili Peppers plays a homeless man. He plays a really good homeless man. But yeah, it's a really good film, and again, it's one of those films, and I don't just like it because River Phoenix is in it, my favourite. It's just a good film. Again, a bit like Queer as Folk, it's like a coming of age film about homosexuality, about life, about kind of uncomfortable situations in life that a lot of people come across that don't have a choice. And I think it's just a good movie. I really like that as well. And another film that I love is Amelie. Again, this is one of the best films ever. It follows her through her kind of teenage life and growing up and lusting after a young gentleman, and it's her trip through her life. And it also has fond memories of me going on my honeymoon. Me and my husband went to Paris this year, and we got to eat in Amelie's cafe, which in the movie she works in a cafe in Paris, and we got to go to the cafe and have our lunch and had a lovely glass of champagne, and it was just the best day ever. Again, I felt like Amelie. I felt really super duper excited. I felt like a super fangirl going into the cafe and seeing all the chairs and the table and the waiters, and I just thought, oh my god, I'm in Amelie's cafe. It's hard to explain, but yeah, it's a story, a French story about a girl growing up and feeling kind of out of touch with certain people, and I could definitely, as a teenager, kind of understand Amelie because I felt like her myself. And this film, again, is by Jean-Pierre Jeunet, I think that's how you say it. But probably one of the most iconic films of the 90s, and I would suggest anybody who is a bit of a culture vulture or feels a little bit outcast in their life, watch this film if you haven't seen it, or if you haven't seen it in a long time, watch it. It is amazing. And then there's just a little handful left, not many to go. Again, I've got this one, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. I also love Michael Cera. I don't know what it is about Michael Cera, but I love him. I'm in love with him as well. I don't know if it's his geeky skinniness, he's smart, I don't know what it is, but I love Michael Cera. I also love Superbad, but I can't find the DVD. And this is a kind of boy film about Scott Pilgrim, who has to take on this young lady's evil ex-boyfriends, and these are all the people here, and it's just, yeah, it's such a boy film. Such a boy film. I don't even know why I like it so much. I'm a typical tomboy when it comes to movies. I just like it. It's about computer generated things. It's just, I find it really hard to explain this one. But if you like computer games, you like geekiness, you like kind of that kind of thing, this is a film for you. I think it's for girls and boys, this film, but I think it's more of a boy film, possibly. But yeah, Michael Cera just plays a guy who fancies this girl and he has to fight all the ex-boyfriends and one girlfriend. Controversial. And yeah, it's a good film, and I liked that. Another film that I like and reminds me of my teenage years is Pulp Fiction. Again, I think everybody and his wife has seen Pulp Fiction. Again, it is an iconic film, and also reminds me of my wedding day. If you have seen Pulp Fiction, there is a scene where John Travolta's character has to take Mia Wallace out for a date to keep him. He's kind of paid by her husband to take her out and entertain her. And they go into like a 1950s bar and they do a dance routine. They go and win a dance competition. I can never remember what the song's called. You know, you're sure you never can tell. Anyway, it's a 50s classic movie. Well, on my wedding day, we didn't want to do any smoochy smooch dance to anything. We danced to the Pulp Fiction dance, and we did the whole and yeah, so it reminds me of my wedding day, but it's also a great film. Sex, violence, typical kind of slasher movie. I mean, Quentin Tarantino at his best. This is a good movie. Sex, death, murder, you name it. It always reminds me, it's kind of like the English Trainspotting. It's kind of one of those films that everybody has seen. If you haven't and you like guns, sex, violence and murder and drugs, you'll love this film. And again, John Travolta plays some... He's a cool dude. John Travolta is cool. And in this he's particularly cool. Oh, and I watched Hairspray the other night that was on TV. The new one with John Travolta. And John Travolta plays the best woman ever. It was very bizarre but cool at the same time. And it had Zac Efron... I can't even speak. Zac Efron in it. Showing. You know what I'm saying, girls? But yeah, that's a good movie. I'm just going to run through the last few. Again, we've got Bubble Boy, and this is one of Jake Gyllenhaal's early movies. And again, this is a 90s classic. This is a boy who is born without any kind of, what's the word? Defence mechanisms? What's the word? Oh, it'll say on the back here. Yeah, he basically lives in a plastic bubble because his family think he's got no immune system. and it's a story about love, and Jake Gyllenhaal falls in love with this girl who lives next door, and it's just like a feel-good movie from the 90s. If you like Jake Gyllenhaal and you like the 90s, this is a movie for you. I remember seeing this as a teenager and going, who's Jake Gyllenhaal? Well, now we all know who Jake Gyllenhaal is. Another good teen movie, Johnny Depp Crybaby. Love, 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 love. Again, I don't fancy Johnny Depp, but in this, yeah, I would. Again, it's kind of, imagine Grease, but better. That's all I can say about that one. Again, and it reminds me of the Rocky Horror Picture Show for some reason as well. But it's about rock and roll, 50s, if you like that kind of thing. It's got a bit of a musical bit in it. It's a fantastic film, and I just remember watching it as a teenager and thinking, yeah, I like the 50s, and I think that probably inspired me with some of my kind of outfit choices as a teenager as well. Best film ever, Romeo and Juliet. Does anybody remember when this came out? And everybody in my school cried, and we got to watch it in English. We got to watch Leonardo DiCaprio at school. Oh, good. Again, great film. One of the best adaptations of a classic Shakespeare kind of sonnet that I've ever seen in my life. My husband likes watching this. He won't mind me saying that. Again, I like the fact that they're mixing kind of modern with the old school kind of Shakespeare. I like the Shakespearean words that they use in it. It's got Leonardo DiCaprio in with curtains. What more can you ask for? And again, it is just a film about love, sex, death and murder, and yeah, it's just one of those films that's a timeless classic. And the last one in my pile of DVDs is Walk the Line, and this is a story about Johnny Cash and how he became famous and how he got his musical career on track. And it's got Joaquin Phoenix in, which is River Phoenix's big brother, who also in this is very, very handsome, girls. If you like a 50s guy with a slick hair and an attitude problem and a drinking problem and taking drugs and using groupies and having sex with groupies and twanging on his guitar, you will love this movie. Johnny Cash is a great musician, and this is just the story of him. And it also has Reese Witherspoon in it, who plays an okay part, but yeah, it's all about Joaquin Phoenix playing the best Johnny Cash. And again, even if you don't like Johnny Cash's music, this is a good story to watch. Again, and yeah, it's a story about his kind of climb up to fame and how he managed it. And again, he had good times and bad times in his life, and again, a good feel-good movie. I think if you wanted to watch it on a Sunday afternoon with your family or friends, it'd be a good one to watch. But yeah, that is my musical choices. And like I said, my favourite movie of all time is Stand By Me, and I watch it probably once or twice a year, and I just remember how much I love it. If you haven't watched a DVD in a while, get your DVD collection out. I have, because I was going through it and I thought, I want to watch a movie tonight, and I thought, no, I'm going to show you guys what I like to watch. Have you guys seen any of these movies? Are any of these movies your favourite films? If they are, message me below. If you've got any suggestions that I'm missing from here that you think I might like after seeing my collection of movies, what do you think I should watch? And again, thank you for watching my videos, and I will see you soon, guys. Bye!